Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Tara is going to come on here in just a moment. I did just finish the Ashley Banfield interview. I'm not sure how that went. I would have liked to have spoken a little bit more about some other things, but that's okay because we're going to do that here tonight. And I want this to be a very respectful live. Tara and I do have a lot of information about this case. As many of you know, I came out here on this last Friday. I drove about 5.5 hours to get here. And I, sorry, I was adding Tara. So I did get here last Friday and I've been here the entire time. We have been on the ground searching. We have I have the Facebook group, and that's what 12,000 members. I never, ever, ever in my wildest dreams imagined that it would get that huge. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I saw the case break the very first day. I am from Northwest Oklahoma. I was raised in Alva, Oklahoma. I graduated there. I went on to college in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. I left the state for quite a few years, but you know what? There's nothing like Oklahoma. So I'm back, and this is where I live, and I plan to stay here until God takes me home. So, welcome all of you for being here. I truly appreciate it. And Tara's up here. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background as far as, the searching, the community, how they are feeling. Hopefully we will have some that will come up and talk here after a little bit after Tara and I do. If you would like to, if you're local and you happen to know Jillian or Veronica, I know that everybody would love to hear your stories about them. And truly, that is what this live is going to be about. This live is about Jillian, it's about Veronica, it's about the communities that are really shaken, it's about the people that live here. My thoughts from being here for the last 5 days, my feelings on, the search, the area, the people here, things like that. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. So again, thank you so much for being here, you guys. Tara, thank you so much for being such a wonderful, amazing mod in the Facebook group. There is no way I could have ever done that without you. I know that it got crazy and out of hand at first. Like I said, I don't even use Facebook myself at all. I use it just so I can go into the true crime, cases that I cover, and so I'll go into the groups and stuff. But that's the only reason I use it. I'm on Twitter or X, I guess. I'm never going to be able to call it X, but um, I started that group because I had been from, not quite this far out western Oklahoma, but close. And I just knew. I knew that it well, I felt, okay, it may have gotten attention. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I felt that it wouldn't get the attention that it was going to need. And I just felt that in my heart, my soul. I told my husband the attention that it was going to need.
God damn it. Oops. That was not supposed to happen.
That's okay. Shoot,
I'll sit still.
You're fine, Tara. No problem. Trust me, you see what happens with me all day, every day. So I just didn't feel like it would get the attention that it was going to need, and I don't know why I felt that. I just felt that, and I had no clue that it was going to be like this. This is huge. As you guys, I don't know if you listen to Ashley Banfield, the FBI is involved. So this is a huge case, and it's a little bit bigger than just a custody battle and two missing women. And I don't want to go into a whole lot of, speculation really, because that's not really what this live is about. I do plan on leaving here tomorrow, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. It's going to be hard for me to talk to you guys about that because I have super mixed emotions. And although I'm usually a very well grounded kind of person, This case just has me, it has my heart and soul. And so back to, yes, I started the Facebook group just to try to raise awareness. And I thought, okay, well, maybe if it gets like 200 people, that'll be great. And I woke up the next morning to 5,000 of you. And I was like, what in the world did I just do? And I can't back out of this group now. And
It's a
thankfully,
great group, though. That was
it
the
is a
one that
great
made
group.
the most sense.
It was a rough, rocky start because, like I said, I don't create group pages and stuff. So I had it on public, and there was no rules, and oh boy, that was a mistake. So we got that fixed as soon as we possibly could, and I think that we have it under pretty good control now with some great mods. But like I said, there is no way possible that any of this could have been done without Tara. She has been 100%. She has had my back. She has helped me dig. She's helped me research. She has worked super, super hard on this case. And so I really want you guys to recognize Tara for all of her efforts, because all of the information, and you guys, I understand you don't know all the information we have yet. I think what I will do, because I'm just on a phone right now, um, I have so many videos and so many pictures and so many documents and such that I'd love to share with you. And I'm pretty sure, Tara probably does as well. But I think that when I get back home and I get settled tomorrow, then we'll try to do another live where we can truly, talk about the intricate details of the case and stuff. But just for tonight, I just want this to be for them. I want this to be for their families. I want this to be for the community. And we can talk a little about the case, but I really truly ask the chat to please be respectful. Please, I beg you to be respectful. So with that said, Tara, I'll let you talk for a minute.
Oh boy, where do I begin?
Like, thanks a lot.
It has been quite the ordeal. This case is one to get easily pulled into. I know I did. Those that my inner circle here in the Wichita metro area where I'm from are listening because I asked them to tune in, and they probably think I'm nuts. And I'm sure they're rolling their eyes to the back of their head and shaking their head like, yeah, you're dumb. Why would you even get involved? And sometimes there's a purpose there. And clearly through some of the work that you and I have done, Carrie, that purpose became very clear very quickly. You and I clicked right away when I messaged you to see if there was anything I could do to help, just to be helpful. And it just kind of blew up from there. And I've got a background person that she's in the chat right now. She is absolutely phenomenal. I will not say who she is, but
thank
she is
you to her. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, she's what I've been calling. I've been calling her one of my corner cutters, and she has been outstanding. I cannot begin to tell you the resources that she has. The things that she has shared with me, I never would have even thought about either. So she has grounded me to ground you to get all this information brought together. When I couldn't figure out what something meant, she could point me in the right direction, and then Carrie, I could pass that information over to you to go check it out when you could.
Yes.
And so it's such a great team effort, quite honestly.
It has been. It's been a huge team effort. And like I said, we have so much information. A lot of it you guys probably haven't even heard yet. And we will share that. We will share that, but I want to do it the right way. And those of you that know me and my channel, I really do try to stick with the facts. I'm not a gossip. I'm not a trauma channel. I'm not a drama channel. That's not for me. That's just not my style. And no knock on those that's theirs, but that's just not mine. And when I told my husband about this case, I looked at him and I said, I'm gonna have to go. And he looked back at me and he said, I saw it in your eyes from the minute you told me about this, that you were going to go. And thankfully I have a very supportive husband. He's not he never goes on YouTube. I believe he's listening. He probably wouldn't even know how to chat, but well, he wouldn't, because he doesn't even have a YouTube account, but he is listening.
Right.
He was super, super supportive of me. He never tried to stop me because he just knew That I was going to be passionate about it, and there probably wouldn't have been much stopping me anyway. So rather than pick a fight with me, he gave me his blessing, and he allowed me to leave my home, leave my husband, my four kids, or well, they're not kids. Well, they're kids to me, but they're adults. My grandchildren, to come out here, and all I wanted to do was search and try to find these women, and y'all, I truly felt like I'd be here a couple days and they'd be found. And within a couple of days, and then, and Tara's research and my research and a lot of others, the information was coming at us fast and hard. And I quickly realized that this was not going to be just simply two missing, women. It just wasn't. So, um, that's where I'm kind of at with it.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit, things that I wasn't able to touch on Banfield that I feel so strongly about. Michaela, we will discuss it a little bit. Give us just a little bit. We'll discuss it, but not
Mhm.
in quite the detail that I want to do, because I want to do it the right way. I want to be able to share things with you, and things like that. And I can't do that through my phone. I mean, I've been living in a motel for 5 nights or 5 days.
Well,
So,
Carrie, there's
um,
so much information. There's so much information without sitting down and actually kind of organizing a little bit to give a
yeah,
full debrief won't do justice to the situation, and it does need justice on multiple levels. So it's not a simple cut and dry case, folks, which is why the questions are all out there. There's a lot more to it.
absolutely. Is everybody able to hear us fine? Everything, all the audio is good and stuff?
God, I hope
Uh,
so, because we've been talking for a few minutes, and I
right?
know you and I can hear one another because we are engaging.
Okay, okay. So we're good. Okay. It's just
Okay, good.
yeah. All right. So a couple of things that I was not able to touch on Banfield that I truly wanted to, because it's important to me. I'm a very small town girl myself, and I understand this community very, very, very well. And I knew that coming in. I didn't expect. Okay, I'm gonna try not to cry, you guys. Seriously. So, if I start to get choked up, I'm just gonna let Tara talk for a second. But there's been a lot of talk about the community and why aren't they searching, and there's a lot going around. What I want to tell you is my experience here. My experience with this community has been incredible. Absolutely, like I have goosebumps right now. It has been absolutely incredible. I don't think I could have asked for a better community. We came in as complete outsiders. If any of you are from tiny small towns like this that are rural, yeah, we kind of are like, we side eye, outsiders, especially if you're a YouTuber, and that's that's a whole nother subject. But um, the media, they're not, they probably have never had media here ever, or if they have, it's been very seldom, I'm sure. So to have all this news media, all the news media come in, and myself and Rock, and there was other searchers, the first day I got here, the people that were on the horses, they were still here. They did leave that night. But for the most part, as far as like outsiders searching or whatever, it was, me and Rock. But back to the community, the outpouring of love and support that they have given both her and I is simply incredible. And I can't tell you all thank you enough. Truly, thank you. Um, who we have been brought home. We've been brought home cooked meals. We have an amazing lady, Prairie Girl, and
Pretty
she's brought
sage.
us Prairie Sage. Sorry, she brought us home cooked meals, and I'm like to die for home cooked meals. Hi, Prairie Sage. Thank you for being here. We had muffins. I mean, you name it. She thought about everything in the world for us, like Advil and cough drops and just anything you can imagine. She like loaded us up, and um, I was in shock because that's not something that's only something that you typically see in these kind of small towns. And most of these areas are just like that. If you run out of gas on the side of the road in an area, these tight knit, small rural Oklahoma communities, what you're going to find is a farmer or rancher that pulls up next to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to go back to my farm, my ranch, whatever, and I'll bring you back some gas." That is how these people are. So I just want to make it so clear that they're amazing in every possible way. We've had, well, Prairie Sage again. She did our laundry for us last night because you all have heard about those hog farms, right? Well, I
Mhm.
messaged Prairie Sage this morning and I was like, listen, if I don't get a shower and get some clean clothes, I am going to be at that finishing point thing over there, or the town is going to literally kick me out of here. But I'm going to
Mm.
have to do something quick. And she got our laundry back to us this morning. Simply amazing. We've had people buy our lunch. Just, oh, gosh. If somebody loaned us a laptop so we could use a laptop. I mean, you just wouldn't. It's so hard to explain if you're not here or you're not from a community like this. It's really hard for other people to understand how tight knit they are, how close they really truly are. And this is, a community. There's like about, three or four small towns, right, all in the same area. But even though they're separated, 20 minutes or so apart, they all still know each other. They
Mhm.
all work together. Their kids go to school together, things like that. So I can't say enough for all of them. And I just really want to thank them very, very much for that. So,
Yeah, you guys have been very well taken care of with everything. I've been closely um, attached to Carrie, kind of at the hip from a distance. And every time I turn around and get a text from her, it's always somebody trying to take care of her and Rock. So there's been an outpouring of support firsthand. And that's such a great thing. That's what those little towns are all about, is that Southern hospitality, I think is what Denise Masters said in the comments. It's a real thing and it means a lot to these women. And that it gives the credibility to the town where some of the news may not cover that. And I think that's important.
yes, absolutely. I will touch base on a few things as far as okay. So where should I go? Where should I go next with that, Tara? So
Well, oh goodness.
from the community. Okay, I could go
I
on to the searches that we've done. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
start the
this
searches and then we need to work into some. There was a question earlier. I'll find the question earlier that was sparking some stuff. But yeah, go with the searches.
okay. So as far as the searches, as most of you probably know, Rock and I have been riding around together for the last 5 days. Um, through that Facebook group, man, the amount of information that came in is just like there's just so much. There is so much because these people all grew up together. They all know each other, and so the searches, we the other day when it was 65-mile-per-hour winds, somebody said, "Hey, have you checked underneath the bridge by the school that Veronica attended?" And I was like, "No," and they said, "Well, you might check under there." It was 65 miles an hour, and I was out there climbing down these big boulder rocks, holding on to rocks, and I'm not the most, I'm pretty clumsy holding on to those. The wind is like blowing me seriously, and I'm not like no 100-pound girl, but the wind is like blowing me away. So I crawl under there, under the bridge. I look everywhere around, go to the other side, come back up, and I have COPD and asthma. I come back up, I get back in Rock's car, and I am just coughing like crazy, which is why Prairie Sage probably brought those cough drops because it was pitiful. And like, if you have like asthma or something, you start coughing, you can't stop. Well, that's pretty much what that was. But so we searched there. There was nothing there, of course. Um, we had been asked to search a few the schools. That came from a psychic that a lot of people have talked about. I do want to say I'm personally I don't personally believe in psychics, but I don't have a problem with other people that do whatsoever. However, we were willing to take any tip that we possibly could get, anything, just anything. So it was mentioned schools. So we went, we searched the Yarborough school. That's what it's right, Tara? Did I say
Yes,
that right? Oh,
yeah, Yarborough.
Yarborough.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
Yarborough, but it's a weird spelling. But yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they searched
Yarborough.
that school.
Yeah, so we searched around there. I didn't figure that was going to be really a possibility. There, that school is active. There's kids there that just didn't really. But you know what? We'll look anyway. So then we went out to another school that is no longer, it's no longer in function.
Yeah.
And we went out to Unity School, a local, bless her heart. She hooked us up with so much stuff. She went out there and she searched with us. Let me tell you, Rock and I were not even out of Rock's car. And yeah, I think it was Prairie Sage. Yeah, it was. So Prairie Sage was out of her car, climbing up these
Hmm.
like cattle gate fencing stuff, climbing up those before we even could get out of our car. And she actually knows Jillian. So she was very invested in trying to find, her friend as well. And she stuck with us till, oh gosh, it was about 11:30 that night. We went and met with some more locals that had even more information, and then the information just kept piling in, and you could just see that things were getting bigger and bigger by the minute. I
Hmm.
think that's about the time I realized that this is a lot bigger, and my heart kind of sank for the community because they know all these people. And it's already a heartbreaking thing for all of them, but this is really something that it's going to rock them to their core. It's going to shake them. And things like this are something that they're going to have to deal, unfortunately, with for many, 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 many years to come. And so that's why I just want to make it so clear that this is an amazing community. That, that a lot of the rumors you're hearing and stuff, those are not true. They're just not. Um, there are people searching. So when we say there's not other, or when you hear there's not other searchers, let me tell you, those ranchers, those farmers, they're out there. They are looking. They are, when they're in their fields, they're looking. Um, there's a thing here. Guys will get together. We used to do it back when I was when I was younger, and they call it booze cruise here. But
Yeah.
they get in the car and they get some couple beers and they go back on the country roads and what have you. And they are out there searching during those times as well. So locals have searched, and I know for a fact that many of the locals that own their own property, many of them have already searched their properties. They didn't have to be asked to. They just did it because they want the Veronica and Jilian, to be found just as much as anybody else, as the rest of the country does now. But they are
Hmm.
searching. When we say that there isn't searching going on, what we mean is, typically in true crime, when we see things like this, we're seeing true field searches. They're locked arm in arm and things like that, right? Well, no, that has not been the case here. That has not been the case. Law enforcement presence definitely picked up. I want to say it started to pick up. Hold on, I got a cough. Sorry. It started to pick up Friday. I think before I got here, just maybe shortly before I got here, it had started picking up a little bit. By Saturday, I started seeing a little bit more. By Sunday, I was seeing them. So, is like OSBI, the Suburbans and things like that. And I could see them circling. So, they'd go in one big circle around these towns. And it was almost like everywhere Rock and I would go, we would see them, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, so are they like what are they doing? Are they gonna follow us? What's going on here? But they weren't, they absolutely weren't. But their presence was being well known. Um, the local law enforcement, um, and I'm just going to give you guys facts, okay? So that none of what I'm telling you right now is not speculation, okay? The local law enforcement, so local police department, sheriff's departments, those law enforcement officials, they have not been told anything about this case. They don't know what evidence was found. They don't know anything. OSBI has not even talked to any of them. That is how that's how I know that this is big. Okay, that's at least how I feel, and I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I also say that the local sheriff's department here has been truly amazing to Rock and I as well. Um, they have looked out for us. We came back to the motel last night. I had a flat tire, and I'll kind of get to why I thought this in a little bit, but we came back and I had a flat tire on my car, and my car has like really just sat, at our motel, and we've been driving around with or I'd been riding around with Rock and she was driving. So my first thought, based on some experiences that we have had, I thought, great, my tires got slashed. I was kind of expecting to come back and find my car spray painted, some of the things like that. And I'll tell you why I felt that way in a bit. But so, law enforcement has looked out for us. They've had our back. They've had their eyes on us. When I went to, get my tire fixed today, the undersheriff here, he had actually called the tire place for me before I had even called them. By the time I got to the tire place, Rock and the undersheriff show up, which I was thankful because it was like in a back area, and I don't know, and at this time my head's on swivel, so they pulled up right behind me, and the undersheriff, he had already knew the guy obviously because he had called him. Oh my gosh, my husband figured out how to get on YouTube. So that Dale is my husband. Good job, babe. So he had already called the guy, so but it's just that kind of um they've made us feel extremely safe, I think is what I'm trying to say. And that's just you don't see that. If you live in a big city, you don't get that kind of treatment from your police departments. They're not going to give you a personal escort to get your tires fixed. You know what I'm saying? Um After we left there, I was trying to pull out and I had to wait on Rock and the undersheriff to leave, back out so I could back out. Well, as I was doing that, a guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, I might have some information for you. And this is how it has been from the moment her and I got together. We would go to one place and we'd talk and we'd talk to somebody and we'd try to pull out and then somebody else would come talk to us. And I'm not complaining. I love it. I think it's amazing that they trusted us with all of that. Um, but he came up to the car and so I got left behind because I'm talking and I didn't know where Rock had gone. And I pulled back at the motel, and what do you know? There's another sheriff sitting here, the canine one. And so I pulled up next to her, and she took a look at me and knew instantly who I was. And I'm like, you know where my friend is? And she's like, let me contact Officer Espinoza. So she radios him, and she's like, hey, where's Rock at? Carrie's right here. So it's that kind of treatment, and you won't find that in any other, like Oklahoma is just the best, and that's my opinion, everybody. But I'll fight you for that one. So, what do Tara? You've talked to me a lot. You've heard my, things I've told you about things like that. What are your thoughts on all of that?
On the small town aspect or which part?
just like, how I've talked to you about how we've been treated and those kind of
Oh,
things.
yeah. Yeah, you guys have been treated very well. There's a lot of people looking out for you, which and that comes to question, right? If they're looking out for you so closely as you have been, there's been farmers following you as friends, not foes. And I've been using that term a lot. So you kind of have to wonder if there's farmers who thought there was a need, if there's people who thought there was a need to help you guys out and stick out for you, watch out for you. Because I've received a lot of comments, and I've sent them all to you, Carrie, because I have eyes out there all over the place, and I've sent you messages that have said, "Hey, my eyes can see you guys over at XYZ restaurant having a
Right.
bite to eat,"
Yes.
which I'm sure kind of freaked you guys out a little bit. And there's two individuals in they're listening right now, and they're laughing because they're like, "Yeah, that sounds so much like Tara. Oh my god." Because I develop relationships quickly, but that's how small towns work. It's relationship oriented. While that does sound very positive, it can be used for negative, which is kind of what brought us all together. But
Yes.
there's a lot of people who were looking out for you guys, a lot of people who have um, seen the value in what you and Rock were doing. And in that value, they offered you guys a lot of info, so much
Abs-
info. And what was great about it is when they thought that info was super important and they couldn't get a hold of you, they were going to the Facebook page because Rock doesn't have Facebook. There's no Facebook following at all. It's just the YouTube. They had to come to your page, and when they
right.
couldn't get a hold of you, they'd be like, "Hey, Carrie is clearly too busy. Can you get this message to her?" And I would get these little tips, and if you couldn't follow up on them, I would, or they would be saying, "Hey." There's a few in particular, and I know they are both on here listening to us, and I grant them with so much credit. I wish I could give them the full credit they deserve, but we have to keep people anonymous, obviously. But they're like, "Hey, don't know either one of you, but you're modding. I've seen you posting. Here's some information. Please do what you want with it, but please keep my name out of it because I want to help, but I don't want anybody to know I'm helping." And I'm from a small town originally. I graduated in a town where I think I was one of 29 in the graduating class, and that's a real thing where you have to kind of, the whispers are real, the support is real. And so the people that were helping you guys really want to help. And sometimes you have to help in the only way you know how, and that's food, and that's gas money, and that's um, just being there to talk to and to give information for. So you guys have had a lot of support from the just the typical stuff to the insider trading secrets, so to speak, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is how we got to where we are today, from the different, the psychic leading us to the schools, which is what led us to a school that was way down south, that led to the whole religious thing and the sovereign citizen thing and all these weird twisted angles that just nobody would have thought of. Nobody would have thought they were
No.
down there.
No.
It's it's a twisted web.
It is a very twisted web, which is, absolutely why I believe FBI is here. Um, I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
we went over. We had just pulled up at Yarborough School. Everybody wants to know where Veronica went to school. She was a whole class of one. She was class president, and
Of one, yes.
so Rock was doing a live, and or we hadn't started live yet. We pulled up there for just to take pictures, I think, and what have you. And it was the day after the winds were had been 65 miles an hour, and the tumbleweeds were just like I described it like, at Christmas time people put bows on the front of your cars. Well, people around here are driving around with tumbleweeds on the front of the cars because it was insane at the tumbleweeds, and they were just flying over
Oh my
that school building. So
Oh yeah.
a lady pulled up and she started having to pick the tumbleweeds up because somebody had to clear the path for the kids to go to school the next day. They couldn't even make it to the front door. So Rock and I immediately got out of our car. We went over there, bare hands and all. And if you've never felt tumbleweeds, they can be a little thorny. So there we are. We're cleaning off all the tumbleweeds from the sidewalk and helping these ladies. And then um, she had already started a live. The school, I believe it was the superintendent. I can't be positive. I think that's who it was. Him and his
Oh
wife came
my.
up to us. They started talking to us. The next thing I know, Rock's inside the school. And I'm like, what in the world? So she's inside the school and he's showing her, pictures of Veronica, things like that. That whole lockdown situation, I do want to explain that as the best I can because he's the one that told Rock about it. But um, it wasn't necessarily like a lockdown like we would think of a lockdown or most people would think of a lockdown. The school's always basically kind of locked down, but what they did do is they kept kids inside for like recess and lunch. So basically like back when I was in school and we'd have snow days or or it would snow outside or bad weather and we'd have to stay inside, basically that is what they did. um it wasn't, I don't know that it was necessary that there was a public threat. It was his call he made. That was not a law enforcement call. He made that call on his own. I think it was probably a sense of the community. They definitely had some initial fear, not really knowing what happened and not having things like this typically happen around here was beyond shocking for them. So that's that whole lockdown thing. It really wasn't that big of an issue, but he was just trying to keep the kids, as safe as he possibly could, just in case. That was it. Um, and I know I've talked to parents; they appreciated that very much. I think people here they are still fearful. I'll try to
Oh
touch
yeah,
on that. Yeah, and I mean I can touch on that now. Um,
I would.
yeah, they so when I say fearful, the fear is of okay, if somebody's gotten away with something repeatedly for years and years, and now there's something like this happens, and maybe that person is possibly involved, and things. If you're in a small town like this, it's a little scary to talk out because you're gonna might be the next with a target on your back. And there is a thing, you have a right to know your accuser. So if you say file a report or you give that information, well, those people you're accusing have a right to know who you are. So knowing that people had been able to get away with quite a bit of stuff, and I'm not talking traffic tickets, okay? They'd been able to get away with quite a bit of stuff. They don't want to talk because what if those people are never brought to justice? Now what? Now we've got a target on our back. So that's why you're not seeing the people talk. They are talking. They're just not speaking publicly. They're not speaking to necessarily the media. They don't want their voices heard. And the reasoning behind that is because everybody's going to recognize your voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you can't really say things out loud, like say here on a live, it would be they're not going to come on here and tell you things is what I'm trying to say. But definitely behind the scenes, in person, messages, they absolutely are trying to help. They have shared so much information with us. It's incredible. And if it wasn't for them sharing all of that kind of information, I'm not so sure that this case would be where it's at now. Tara, I think you have
No,
a background noise of some sort. I'm not sure what it is.
probably so. I always do.
Oh, okay. So, um, so that's what when you hear about that they're fearful, that's that kind of fear. I hope that
Yes.
makes sense. If you want to expand on that, Tara, because I know you know a little bit about that too.
Yeah, I've had a few of the locals reach out to me saying that they don't want to speak up because they don't know what will happen to them. There is some issues where they could make a claim, but when the claim is taken back to the person that could be of interest in that claim, that person can ask, well, who said that? And that name has to be divulged. So there's a retaliation issue that is attached to all of this because of the government, the law enforcement, the way it's all set up. It's not familiar. It seems like it would be like a cut and dry thing, and it's not. In Oklahoma, things are a little bit different in how they identify governmental agencies, cities, towns, that sort of thing. And so the locals are very scared, and they've seen what they've seen. They're used to it. They know better, so to speak, which is really sad because you hear people say that's just how they are, and there's nothing you can do about it, or that's just the way it is, or this is the way it's always been done. And I've heard that several times, but nobody's okay with it. They just live their life. They try to tiptoe where they need to tiptoe and, walk where they can walk. And they just go about their lives. But when it comes to something like this, they want somebody to talk to. They don't trust law enforcement necessarily. Some do, some don't, some are in between. But they want somebody who will feel like will take them seriously. And that's where Carrie has come in. I've received several comments, Carrie, about your compassion and your ability to listen and really take things to a different level. I know there's a lot of people who are very excited about your attention to this case because of that.
Yeah, they definitely, when once they kind of figured out that I had the right intentions, I wasn't just a YouTuber here to make money off of their tragedy. I think that they quickly realized, and then they needed to talk. They needed to get things off their chest, but they needed a safe place to do so. And I
Yep.
hope that I was able to provide many of you that safe place and keep you anonymous. Um, that back to the school with the tumbleweeds. So we were trying to leave after all that, and then these two farmers came up to us, really nice gentlemen, and the one man told us flat out, he said, "I'm going to be honest. When you guys came here, I had very mixed emotions about it." And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Sir, I understand that. I get it." He said, "Yeah, but now I am so thankful you're here." And they are. I mean, I would say there's probably some people that aren't happy about it, but I think that the overall, they are very happy, and they were thankful,
I
and
don't know if you
they
guys can
are
hear
thankful.
Carrie. She kind of phased out for me.
Can
Are you
everybody hear
there?
me? Yeah, I'm here. Can
I
you
think
guys
we
hear
can
me?
now. Yeah, I think we can now. It phased out on my end, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm sure that what he was just the one that was brave enough to say it to our face, but no doubt the rest of you, the people here, they were probably feeling the same exact way, and I don't blame them one bit. I've seen YouTube shenanigans. I don't agree with it. That is not something I would do. So I'm glad that they put their trust in us. I'm glad they put their faith in us. Anything that they gave us that was, and that truly is something that need turn over to law enforcement. Um, that is going that I have quite a bit, and I have to, I'm going to package it together, although I wouldn't be surprised in the least if law enforcement has not already, you know they know a lot. So um let's see, what else was there.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
I know there
yeah,
was
there's
some of
so
the.
much information, it's hard, like it's
It
hard.
is. I know some folks, there has been a lot between the face group page, which is that's the one that Carrie started. That's where she and I connected through, and how we have been moving together on all of this. But there was some talk about, with all that's going on, a lot of different posts about how did people get away with stuff down there? How, because there's been different things like, did they search this? Did they search that? Why aren't, that was the question that came up earlier, Carrie, is why aren't law enforcement searching? Why aren't there search grids? News Nation made a comment about that, which I know that you wanted to touch base on, about why searches were not seemingly taking place. I have been trying to moderate that conversation in the face group page. So touching base on that is a big thing for people, I think, because these women are missing. So why aren't we searching? I think that's what people want to know.
Right. And I think that that's a really good question. Obviously, we law enforcement does know more than we do. Um,
Hmm.
but the other problem is where do you even start? There's just fields for miles everywhere. Where would you even start? I mean, you can't just go walk can't just go walk 100 acre. You just can't do things like that. So, and there's not manpower out here. These are small towns. I mean, I think they have six in the county I'm in. They have six that sheriff deputies out here that and they're not on duty all at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
they don't have big police forces. They don't have big sheriff departments. It's not like that. So they don't have that kind of manpower. I believe in
No.
this is just my opinion. I think when OSBI, they did come in immediately that day, thankfully, very thankfully. um I think that they realized pretty quickly that it was maybe even a little bit bigger than them. FBI was then brought in to assist with some things. Um, I feel like that might kick up a little bit. Um, I have a feeling, and this is my opinion only right now, but um, as far as why they're not searching, if when I look at their press conferences, or whatever whatever you call them, they're not press conference, they haven't done press conferences, but if you listen, they say that they're still hoping to find them alive. I have a feeling that they have a pretty good idea, and I, it's a fine line I'm trying to walk right now. I think they have a fairly good idea of where they are. And I hope that they do. I hope that they do because, I know many people are like, let law enforcement do their job. Trust me, absolutely. I have faith in them, and there is nothing we would ever have done. As I'll speak for myself, to impede on anything in their investigation. That's not why I came. I came to come search for two missing mothers, two missing daughters, two missing, wives, and that was my whole reason for being here. And I couldn't help it that people were reaching out and providing information, and I'm thankful that they did. But yeah, I think that's fine line to that I'm I just don't want to say a whole lot right now, I think, regarding some of that. But I do, for those that don't think law enforcement is doing their job,
They
they are
are.
doing their job. Trust me, they absolutely are. And they are working
Well,
very hard for you guys.
yes, I think it's fair to say when the FBI gets involved, it's not because OSBI or local law enforcement isn't doing their job. It's because it is, and that means it's bigger than just what appears to be. So the FBI doesn't get involved because they're bored. There is something more than what has been put out there for public viewing, and that's why they're down there now and getting involved. And if it has to go bigger than that, then they have the next person, the next step in the process to call
Absolutely.
on. But there's a lot going on here, and the FBI being involved is a very big trigger to that. It should be a very big indicator that stuff has been happening, and it is very large.
Yes, absolutely. Um, all right. What else?
Oh my,
Mom,
it's been
like, Sarah knows
with
this.
some of
I'll
the
be like, she'll like tell
what
me a name, and I'll be like, who was that again? And I don't even know my own name anymore because
That's why you have me. I'm the in-seat organizer for you, and then we've got the cookie or the corner cutters for us.
yes, and I love
We've
the corner cutters. They're amazing, and I want to thank them personally very much. So definitely.
They are outstanding, and they can she can hear you. Both of them can hear you. I know. There's actually two or three of them, maybe even four, if I stop and really think about it, that have been just phenomenal in their trustworthiness and their ambition and their desire. We all come together for the same goal, and it's to find these women. Um, and it's they no, and they're not close at all. They can't get there. So they're all literally working from remote, very remote, and so they've been outstanding in supporting everything I've asked them to do. And they were anonymous tipsters that came in, Carrie. They were ones that reached out to us and said, "Hey, I have this information or I have this skill set. How do I help?" So they are. Quite honestly, the kindness of their hearts that they have helped us to get us to where they are. And it's not even us. I make it sound like I started this with you, but it's really you. We've all been supporting you in your efforts because you really got this going and put this on the map. Because if it hadn't been for Jilian, right, being the pastor's wife, which is how the news media sensationalized this and made it sexy,
Yes.
Veronica would have gone unnoticed. And I firmly believe that. I've talked to several people who said the same thing. People have gone missing in that area for years, for decades. Nobody's known. It took somebody literally from the outside being noticed for this to hit the national medias, and it needs to continue to hit because there's a reason for it.
Yeah, and with that said too, I would like to thank all those people that joined the Facebook group that took an interest in it because and you know, Tara is not wrong. Tara's not wrong. And even if Veronica hadn't, you know, if even if it was the same situation without the public, I know that media is like a double-edged sword, and I understand that completely. But when you have a situation like this, and especially in a very rural area, you really need that. You need that national coverage, because it's not necessarily things get swept under the rug. It's that they don't have that kind of what's the wording I'm looking for? Like they don't have, well, they don't have the manpower, first of all. Um,
No, no. Well, it's a different kind of law enforcement down there because of the city versus town aspect. That makes it difficult for law enforcement to operate the way that I live in a major metropolitan area. Carrie, I think you live in something similar, and it's difficult for us to understand why something more easy to see would not be there. But this is different. It's a different area. They operate under different rules, as odd as that sounds.
listen,
Um,
Harry lives in a town of 800 people.
so you're in a town, not a city, in Oklahoma.
Elkhart, Oklahoma, I think is bigger than the town I live in. If that gives you
Oh
local,
no.
yeah, it's been
I
a
live in a city of 25,000, so slightly different there. Slightly different.
yeah. I wouldn't give up small town life for anything in the world. I know my husband and I absolutely love our town, and the people there are just like the people here, and that's why maybe it was so easy to connect with the locals here. And I'm just so thankful that they did. I'm sure it was difficult to try to put their trust in an outsider that they never even heard of our names ever,
Yep.
and that
Agreed.
that probably how it was very difficult. Um, but my morals and my moral compass is one that you tell me you want to be anonymous, you're going to be anonymous 100%.
Yep.
I want to touch on how rumors affect people like this. Rumors. Um, everybody in these areas, they work together, they go to school together, they do business with each other, they're business owners, you know, what have you. um, when somebody, if names start getting thrown out and you're accusing somebody without any kind of fact, you could literally can destroy an entire family, and they can lose their businesses because people, there's always going to be those people that believe those rumors. People will stop doing business with them, and how are they going to make their house payment, their land payment, feed their you know, the agriculture that they're raising? How are they going to put food on the table for their children? So it, you know, if you're in a big city, it's not quite so bad if someone starts a bad rumor about you. But if you're in a tiny town like this, you just don't do that to people, and you have to be super careful. And I want to make that very clear, especially to those that are, you know, in the Facebook group that we have. Just be really careful and think about how you would feel if it were you. It's not a good feeling. Somebody in another group today said that I'm related to the grandmother.
Oh my goodness.
You've got to be kidding. And literally it made me, I was sitting in Rock's car, and I start crying. I was so upset because I'm like, how in the world, you could destroy me. Um, and I'll touch on the threats that we've had, but by
Yep.
saying something like that and putting it in a group of 1,000 people, do you realize how much danger you could have put me in? That's not, it's not right. And so I'm not worried about me because I don't live here. I'm not staying here. But these people do live here, and they do have to keep working together. And just please be careful about that. Another thing I want to say is for anybody else that does come in and search from the outside, because I this is going to get big. I truly feel this is going to get very, very big. I think Tara would be in complete agreement on that, wouldn't you, Tara?
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So if anybody from the outside does come in and search, you really have to be careful, because all of this is private land. Even if it doesn't have a fence up, you better check to see who owns that property, because they are going to protect their property. They have to. People will go. I had a lady call me this evening telling me people literally, and she's not talking about like right now. So she's talking just in general. But this is stuff that happens. That she's had her gate left open on her farmland, and her animal, her farm animals got out, horses and cattle. Like, you have to be super careful. So I want to make that very clear to anybody that comes in. I will be leaving in the morning. I think that I accomplished what my I had two goals. One was to spread awareness, because I wanted these ladies found, because their families need those answers, and they need to know what their loved ones are. So that was first one. The second one, I wanted to find them. Um,
Hmm.
if for anybody that does come in, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be, and I hope that everybody, those that follow what Rock and I have done, I hope you try at least kind of follow our lead. Be respectful to those that live here. Be respectful to the properties that you go on. Most people here, like, if you can easily find out who owns the property. You just contact them. The people here are going to be most all of them. Shoot, yeah, go search my property. They really will, but they need to know that you're on it, right? And I'm telling you, because everybody here carries. Everybody, Oklahoma's an open state. You can carry a gun completely out in the open, and everybody, especially in these little towns, the majority are carrying. Okay, so just be super careful. Be very respectful to their properties. um I want to make that very clear. Yeah, so hopefully you guys will do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all private property down there. That's the other thing. There's not much for public property. Everything is owned by somebody. It's farming country. It's livestock, fields, crops, pigs, everything. It's not easy to search down there. But you guys have done an amazing job too. I mean, you guys have done great making connections and asking and developing those relationships. You really have.
Yes. The mods that are in here, if you see any nasty comments, just delete them and ban them out of here, because we're not doing that kind of stuff. We're not this channel. We're not here to bash other people, other creators,
Right.
nothing like that. So I don't want that in here. I don't do it. Um,
And there's enough of that in the Facebook group page for us.
yeah,
That keeps us busy.
yeah, it does. And it's hard. People want to discuss things, and I think, healthy discussion is really good. People, they, of course, speculation is a natural human thing. That's what we do. And so you can speculate, and you can discuss things, but you can do it in a respectful manner. You don't always have to put names out there. You can do it in a very respectful, classy way. I think. Yeah, I think that's what. Hopefully, I said that. Hopefully, what's in my brain, hopefully, is coming out of my mouth the way I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
Nope. So, I'll touch on the threats that Rock and I received a little bit. Casey was likely was banned, but thanks. Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, where do I start? My husband needs to
Oh
leave.
goodness. We know what? We'll soften the blow because my husband he already knows about it, so it's going to be a softer blow because I was the moderator at the time and I brought it to your attention at the same time you brought it to mine. Is we had somebody that was a part of they were one of the interested parties to law enforcement, to rumors, to all of the water cooler information and talk. There was some family names that came up, and this individual was allowed to join the group. And and we thought, you know what, it's part of this group is a great thing about this group is you get information whether people know you're getting it or not. And this individual left a comment that was very vulgar. I won't say it here, but he was very much, yeah, bring it on type of thing. We love it. We love what you're doing. Bring it on. But it was not a supportive type of comment. No direct threats or anything of that nature. But as soon as we saw the name, we're like, oh, we have gathered some attention. We have some people in the group that are as interested on the beneficial side as maybe not so beneficial side. Maybe that might
Yes.
sum it up very quickly and to
Yeah.
start it off with.
Okay, so the night I got here last Friday, I got here Friday afternoon, but that evening it was dark out. The volunteers that had come out from Wichita with the horses, they were still here, and it was a woman, and then the man, he works on her ranch or her, he takes care of her like horses and things like that. Um, so we're out there and we're talking, and it's pitch dark, so we were at Four Corners, which is where Veronica, Jilian, were supposed to meet the grandmother that Saturday, and that's exactly where we were. And we're out there and we're talking and we're discussing, everything is going on, and all of a sudden this car comes up, and then its headlights go off, and I'm like, what in the world, where did that car just go? Because it could only go a couple ways. It could go straight, uh past, and it's like down another, just straight on. It could have gone down that way, or it would have had to turn on the highway, and there were no lights anywhere. So what they did, the guy that was with the horses, he obviously was, loaded, as was I was armed as well. um he he walks out into the middle of the highway with his gun in his hand, because we don't know what to expect. So he walks out there with the gun in his hand, and they turn on their lights and they fly out of there. Well, many of you don't know me personally. My husband will tell you I am fearless. I am absolutely fearless, and I'm an adrenaline junkie too, so you can blame my parents for that. But when we saw him fly out of there, because of the fact that they had sat there, they sat across on the highway with lights off watching us. And what I didn't know at the time is that Rock and them, they'd had that same situation like the night before. So I might have a fast car, and I might have jumped into that fast car with Cowboy Joe, and I might have caught up to that car, and I might have written down that license plate. And I also might have done my own little research and found out who the owner of that little car was. So they took us all the way into Elkhart from Four Corners. So I don't know. That's like, what, 20 minutes? I'm not quite sure. I've driven it so much now that it doesn't seem very far, but I think it's maybe a 20-minute drive. But if I'm wrong, I apologize. Um, So they took us into Elkhart, and they pulled off onto a side road, and I'm like, you're not going to mess with me, you're not going to scare me, you're not going to scare me out of town. And if you're doing something like that, that tells me right away you're shady. There's no reason to do like stuff like that, right? So 18 miles, okay, so I was probably about right, so 20 minutes or so. um they turn off onto a side road in town in Elkhart, and dummy or Carrie, whatever, we had to follow them on and follow them down this side road. Well, there was no reason for them to go down this side road, none at all. And so finally he's like, this is weird, you might back off of them. I'm like, I think you're right, because at that point I'm like, somebody's got to start shooting out windows and stuff. That's truly how scary. Well, I wasn't scared at that point, but that's how it felt. It could happen. So we turned around, and once they saw us turn around, they turned around, and then they went on the other way. So basically, they were toying with us. That's exactly what they do. They were toying with us, and that was that night. And then let's see, what was the next one? I try to keep it in chronological order. So that happened. Do you remember the next one, Tara?
The black
Oh,
truck.
okay. So that okay. Um, Sometimes my memory needs triggered a minute. Uh,
Again, why I'm here.
I just have like so much information and thoughts in my head that I can't keep it straight right now. Um, so another night, Rock and I, of course, we wanted to see. Hold on, I got caught.
Well, that must be a big cough. She's still
It
there. She is.
was, it was. So we obviously had driven by a certain person that's related and involved in the whole custody battle. We had driven by there because, of course, we want to see it. We wanted to, see what's going on, what's out here. Um, we never saw anybody there. I will say that at the time, there were they have Pyrenees dogs, as a lot of people do their guardian dogs. So the dogs would come running out and stuff, and we never like stopped. We didn't harass. We didn't stand out there and honk horns and yell. It wasn't like that. We literally drove by. All right. And we had done that multiple times. We just kind of wanted to see where maybe was this person still staying there, or had they maybe gone somewhere else to stay, that kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. We're in true crime. That's what we do.
Mm.
So no harassment on our end whatsoever, though. And so we had done that a few times. Well, one night we decided we were just gonna be a little rotten, and we thought, well, we'll go take a drive. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, because, well, maybe at 2 a.m., because there's usually quite a few vehicles there. So I'll tell you, between the major custody person that is involved in this custody battle, and I don't want to mention names tonight, okay? But that person and that person's boyfriend, between the two of them, they literally own like 13 vehicles. I think it is 13. Yes, 13 vehicles between the two of them. I don't know why somebody needs so many vehicles, but I could take a guess. And anyway, so we drove by there at like 2 a.m., right? Well, I don't know. I don't think we had given our location. And no, we had not given our location, and it was dark out. So no, and even if she had the camera on, you wouldn't have been able to see anything because it's pitch black. This is a country road, county country road. Some of it is blacktop, some of it's dirt. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes the same car that did that to us on Friday night. And I mean out of nowhere. And it was hauling butt. And let me tell you, Rock, she freaking gunned it, and we were out of there. But they knew we were there. Somehow they knew we were out there at 2:30 in the morning. Now I'm telling you, this is a road that you're not going down it at 2:30 in the morning. There's nothing there. There's like a few houses, it's just a typical county road. And No reason for somebody to be there. So that was the second incident. Then the third incident, we had already checked, both the schools. Like I said earlier, we had checked those two schools going off of this psychic thing. And that's just because people kept asking us to do that. And like I said, we totally willing to follow up on any tip possible, even if it sounded kind of crazy to me, whatever, because you know what? You never know, right? You never know. Maybe they're all right. So we decided we were going to go check another school, and that school was further out. What was the name of that school, Tara? Do you remember?
The one I brought attention to for the interesting
Yeah,
activity.
yeah.
Plainview.
Plain.
Plainview.
For some reason, I always want to say Fairview, and I think it's because there's a Fairview, Oklahoma, but Plainview. Okay, so we didn't know any. Okay, without giving away too much information, we didn't know what we know now. Okay, we just thought it was an abandoned school, and so we were going to go out there, and it was daylight. It was totally daylight. It was mid-afternoon, so we were just going to go out there and take a look around, search. It's an abandoned school. It's not been in use for a long time, and so we're headed out that way. Well, Rock was using my iPhone because I have AT&T service, and it picks up really pretty good out here, even on the county, country roads. And she has a different cell phone provider, and she was just not getting, service at all. So she was using my phone. So I wasn't able to see the Facebook messages and stuff that were happening. And we got started down the road. We were probably maybe 10 minutes outside of where the school was. And all of a sudden, her mods messaged her and made her talk to them. And they said, "We don't think this is a good idea. Like, we're scared for you." I don't know what made them think that, but I'm telling you, they probably saved our lives that day. And I mean that with all sincerity. I'm not embellishing. I'm not nothing. Um, her and I were kind of irritated. I'm going to be very honest. And if her moms are listening, I'm sorry, but we were a little irritated first because we're women, hear us roar, fearless. And we didn't really want to turn around because we wanted to go search this place. Well, we did turn around, and it was right after, right, like within minutes, I was able to look at the Facebook group. Well, at the time that we had said we were going out there and we started down that road, there was a specific individual who we already kind of had in our minds that could be a player in the bigger picture of things. Okay. Um, this person requested to join the Facebook group, and I knew the name, and I was like, okay, fine. I mean, we're not going to keep you out of there, like, whatever. But then the next thing I get is a comment, and I'll tell you what that comment was. I can't read it, word for word, because I can't look at it, but it was basically to the effect of, bring it on, MFers. We love MFers like you. And then it was like something like, we live for this stuff, or something to that effect, wasn't it, Tara?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it or something along those lines. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. That was it. I had not seen that message. Well, to me, that's a direct threat because I know the person that did it. Okay. And I know the background of that person and all the other stuff. It most definitely was a direct threat. They did not want us going. Thankfully, we didn't go out there because now we know so much more than we did then. And that's a, in fact, the news contacted me and they wanted to know the address. And I said, I'm not giving it because I don't want you guys going out there. Just don't do it. It's not even worth it. It's not worth the picture. It's not worth the video. Just don't go out there. Right. So that was that time. Then the next time. And so that's what I'm telling you. Our heads have been on swivel because we have definitely had a lot of threats. Then After that, I want to say maybe it was that, I think it was that same night we thought, okay, well, we're going to go take a drive, and we're going to say that we're going out there because we're just a little cuckoo like that sometimes. So we told our, she went live and told her live, that we're going to kind of go back out to that area. But what was really happening is we were going in a complete opposite direction that had nothing to do with anything involving this case. It was just simply like, think of it as like just going for a cruise at night, basically. And um all of a sudden, and I don't know how, because again, she had her camera off. So they couldn't have even seen signs to know where we were. We were nowhere around this area. This is what I'm trying to say. And all of a sudden I hear this loud noise, and it's like right next to the driver's side door. And she heard it too. And we both, I said, what the F was that? And I looked over, there's no lights. There was no headlights or anything. Literally somebody pulled up next to her, and we're going like, 60, 65 miles an hour down the road. Somebody literally pulled up next to her with their lights off, and she gunned it again. Well, we look back, and they kind of hung back a little bit, and we'd see lights come on, and then they went off, and I'm like, they're messing with us, man. They're really messing with us. And then finally I look back, and there's two sets of headlights. Now, these roads aren't traveled like that at those kind of times. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of important, because people generally are not out and about at those times, okay? We look back, and there's two sets of headlights. So okay, we're done being, fearless grannies, and we are taking our booties back home where we should probably be in bed asleep. And that's exactly what we did. And we did not do any more late night drives after that. So that's why I said earlier, if you weren't here when we came back to our motel last night, my front tire was completely flat. It was 2 psi. And my first thought was, son of a biscuit eater, they came and slashed my tires. Well, it wasn't. It was because I had taken it out on a country road the day before, and as happens often, I ran over a nail. So it wasn't anything nefarious or anything. So thankfully it wasn't. But so got that tire taken care of today, all that's settled. So we haven't had anything else since then. I credit a lot of that because we came across as, we're not afraid of you. You're not running us off. We're not letting the story go. You're finally, justice is going to come, and you're just not going to run us off. You're not going to do it. We're not afraid. If it's my time, it's my time. But we are here, to help because of Jilian and Veronica and their families. Jillian's not quite so much, and I understand they're very, you know, they have a lot of faith in the Lord. They have faith in law enforcement, as they should. But the families were told. Now, I never have seen a gag order, so I haven't seen it. And I've been told by the family it's not like an actual gag order. They were just asked by law enforcement to not discuss the details with like media and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm just assuming that meant like, if you knew the condition of the car, things like that, don't say that, because those are things that they don't necessarily want a suspect, that information out, right? So that's really the reason why the families have not talked. Another reason, and I blame social media for this a lot. Anytime a family that is going through a crisis like this, it seems like anytime they go on the news or they go on a YouTube channel or something, it all starts off great, and before you know it, every single word is twisted, turned, and all of a sudden they're the bad guys. You know what I mean? So, like, if I had a missing family member, I don't know if I'd want to go to social media about it. I know I would, because it definitely has its positive aspect of it because there's such a wide reach. This story would not have national coverage, I don't believe, if it wasn't for that Facebook group and all of you, and then you sharing it with your friends and talking to your friends about it. And before we knew it, people outside of the country, out of the United States, know about it. So, thank you so much for all of you that have stuck with it even through the initial bumpy phase. So, you want to talk for a few, Tara?
And what do you want me to cover? Yeah, I know you've got to be tired. You're going home in the morning, which I think you spending 5 days out there is quite the sacrifice and quite the diligence on your part. There's a couple questions in the chat that I've been trying to catch up with. There was a question about if Veronica's husband was in law enforcement. Yes, he is. There's Carrie, there was a question about the tracker on the car situation that was mentioned several times in Rock's live streams about a
Right.
tracker being on the car. And we did some digging on that. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want to address that real quick.
Yeah. Well, we don't know for a fact that that's the case. It's kind of 1+1 = 2 is how I felt, because, those 2 nights, there's no way. There is no way they could have known that we were out there. There's just no way. I mean, I can't imagine how they would have known. And especially the night that we went by the other person that's involved in the custody battle by her house, there that was the same car that had already been harassing and doing those things. So there's just no way, in my head, there's just no way they would have known. um we did check like the tire wells, and we did all of that. She does have somebody that she's going to be able to take it to have it further checked out. But I mean, it's not that I can say yes for a fact that there was a tracker on it, but I can say that it's highly probable. Otherwise, they're just some smart cookies that just read our minds, and all of a sudden knew where we were going to be in the middle of nowhere at 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
Well, there was some history attached to that. That's kind of what validated that question. There
yeah,
were some local stories that said, yeah, that's an absolute possibility. Look into that.
right.
And so it was not as though it was paranoia. There's always, you guys were great about following up on tips, listening to locals, and following your gut and your situational awareness. Carrie, I think I'm going to give you some credit to that. I've been learning about situational awareness for the last 7.5 years pretty closely. And that's going to make a couple people smile on this chat, but that's something I want to credit you for. Your situational awareness has been on point with the messages you've sent back to me about where you're at, what you're doing, how's it going, and what you're noticing, because you haven't gone out there blindly. You've been very aware of your situation as tips were coming in about, different cautions to be aware of. You really took that into consideration. And I think you did a really great job with that, because that's not something many people would take into consideration.
Thank you. Well, that's generally just like who I am, but also law enforcement didn't need two more missing women. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we don't want to make their job harder. We didn't realize that all that would happen. Like, I never dreamt that we would be chased at 80, 90 miles an hour. I never dreamt anything like that. Literally, like, who would have thought that? If you're coming to search for two missing women, who would have ever dreamt that things like that would start happening, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my head, definitely had been on swivel the whole time. And I'll tell you, Rock was carrying, and so was I. So, we didn't want a, wild, wild west situation happening. Wasn't trying to do that. We're armed for our own protection in case somebody would mess with us. But, that's not a situation, obviously, we would want.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy. Well, I know that there's some people that I just saw something and I thought would be important to point out. There's some new subscribers to your channel, so you might
Yes.
go into a little bit of detail about that. And
Yep.
We had to be cryptic about some things tonight, so you might give some information about when details will be available, because you're going to have a following after this, I think.
Yeah. So real quick, let me recognize these. And you guys, like, I don't do lives very often. And maybe as I get more comfortable, I will. The reason I don't do lives is because I am, and my husband will tell you, like, I'm a facts girl, man. I've got to write. I'm old school. I've got to write everything down. And, I just have to dig deep. I have to, when I say something, if I'm saying it and I'm saying this is a fact, it's because, maybe it's going to be misproven down the road because things are fluid. But I'm saying it because I have truly done my research, on other cases. And in this instance, we've had a lot of help. And so we pretty much can distinguish what's fact and what's not, or at least what's fact at this point, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I do want to thank these new members, though. So, Road Gypsy, I appreciate you very much. And that's really kind of the best way to support me and this channel and our efforts is just by, becoming a member. And I think it's like the lowest tier is only 99 cents a month. So it helps. And so Mermaid Mary RN, thank you as well. And Karen, I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to all of you that are here. Um, I don't know if anybody would feel comfortable doing it. I would love to, for people to be able to hear some stories about Veronica and about Jilian. There's a lot of them that are posted in our Facebook group. I've received so many messages, and what I want to tell you is these ladies are really truly loved. They really truly loved, and they're both wonderful women. I've not heard one bad thing about either of them. Nothing bad. Just that they were just beautiful. I've heard that Veronica's smile would just light up a room. That she is very easy to get along with, very giving kind of person. Of Obviously Jilian is as well. And just nothing but great things to say about them. And if you are comfortable and I think I think our chat is pretty good, aren't they,
Oh,
Tara?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we've got great mods, and we are
yeah.
solid on that.
So if you know Jilian or Veronica, and you don't have to put your face on camera whatsoever, and we're not going to talk like negative or about the case, with this. We would love to hear what your experiences are, and how you know them, and your memories and things like that. And if you'd like to come up, I'd be happy to drop a link. Give me just a minute and I'll do that. But this link is truly, and it's a risk for me to put this out, the link in the chat, but that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully there's no, craziness, but
Shenanigans.
yeah,
No shenanigans.
that's not,
We've had plenty.
yeah, we've had plenty of shenanigans. So, but if you know them, is there anybody that is in the chat that would like to talk about either of their friends, or if they're your family, would you like to be their voice right now? We're happy to give you that opportunity. So give me just a moment and I will put that link in here. Maybe if I find it, give me a minute. You want to talk for just a minute?
I was just getting
Talk,
ready to say
talk,
something.
figure out
This
where
technology is great. There's somebody I want to give a shout out to, because Mermaid Mary RN has been sharing a lot of memories about Jilian, which is really awesome, and it flies right into what you were talking about sharing those memories and keeping the spirit alive. There's also been, I think, Musician 3 has been also talking about Jilian and their memories, and that there's not very many there's not a lot of coverage on this story, and I think that's important. I'd like for people to kind of give that some consideration when it's there's not a lot of news coverage, media coverage going on with that. You have to ask yourself why. Why is that? Why is there not enough attention? What's going on there? Is it because these people don't matter? Probably not. So there's when there is an opportunity to start thinking critically and looking a little deeper into things, I would take advantage of that opportunity. There's something deeper and something more meaningful going on there. And the more we talk about it, I know you've heard that say their name thing. That's been a very popular social media thing, but truly in this case, keeping their names out there in the open for everybody to see is very important to what this case can turn into at the end. And so it looks like you've got the link dropped there, Carrie.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. And KS Girl, thank you very much for becoming a new member. But absolutely, if anybody wants to share their stories, you're more than welcome to. Peacock, thank you so much for being here. I know it's late. Meanwhile, we can answer questions to the best of our ability. I don't necessarily. I don't know if we want to scroll back in the chat or if you guys just let's start from here because there's a lot of comments to go back through. But if you
I don't know. What are the mods? We've got several mods in here. I've been trying to capture things as I see them. But I mean, if they've got them, just let them fly through the chat now.
yeah, absolutely. If you've got a question away. And if we aren't comfortable answering it right now, then we'll definitely, let you know. But
We'll answer later.
mm-hmm.
Yep, we
Yeah,
will just get it later.
we are most definitely going to do a more in-depth live that will be actual case facts and things like that. And we have so much information that you guys you haven't heard yet. I'm telling you. So
Mm-hmm. It's hard to do these things because you want to just kind of verbally vomit, but it's not.
Which,
It needs to be organized because it'll be so convoluted and crazy sounding that it needs to be organized. So taking the questions will be easier than anything else.
definitely, I agree. Yeah, I need to be organized because I'm very careful to not accuse people
Yeah.
without proof, and I don't want to do that. So I want to be organized for that kind of a live,
Yeah.
and that's the only reason I'm not doing that right now.
Yep.
So, but I
So there's
maybe
there,
maybe like I'm saying Tuesday. See, I don't even know what day it is anymore. Today's Tuesday.
no, it's Wednesday. It's
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay.
You're a day behind.
Right.
So
Okay.
the questions are starting to come in.
Okay. Cool.
And so the first one is from Mermaid Mary. When did FBI become involved? Today. They were announced officially from the news media stations today. There had been a rumor they were coming in, and looks like that rumor came to fruition. They are involved now. Do you think justice will prevail? Oh, I'm not touching that. I don't know. This is such a Tabitha. The best thing I can tell you about something like that is to just follow this channel and like Carrie said, we have more information we'll come to you with, but we need to gather our ducks. There's a lot of ducks and a couple of geese and some strange swan in the mix. So I don't know how the justice system is going to come involved in all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
With
We do have somebody wanting to come up.
Oh,
Hopefully
cool.
is you know um let me see. Okay. Looks like
And then
is the person already up there?
I don't see anybody, but I don't know that you and I have the same view. Okay, while you're doing that, anyone watching who may know something, come forward, agree. please come forward. You can reach out to Carrie and I anonymously. Go to the Facebook page and find us there. The Facebook page, we can drop that link back in there. Again, the mods just can drop it right there for us. They could have people watching you at all kinds in different places, reporting where you are going, and put something they can trace in your vehicle. Could be out watching with optics and waiting. That sounds like a bunch of technology to me. Plisama, I'm not even gonna try saying that name. Agreed. Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Looks like there's somebody who joined us.
Yeah, so Nancy Johnson did try to come up, and I'm not sure it wouldn't allow me to add her. So maybe Nancy, you can come up. If you'll try again, then I'll try again. Okay, but right now, the only thing it's allowing me to do is kick you out because it won't let me put you up there. Estella is up on panel. Hi, Estella.
Hi. I just wanted to come on here and say
I don't know
that.
if she's muted. I can't hear. Can you hear her, Carrie?
I can hear her. Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Does she have the YouTube channel open separate from the StreamYard channel?
I'm not too sure. Hold on. I have the stream channel on
Okay.
my.
If you guys in the chat can hear, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear her really well.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to come on here and say that I went to high school. Well, I was in middle school, but in Yarborough, everything's like very connected. So I went to school with Veronica, and I just wanted to say that I hope that everything, I hope she's found. And I know a lot of people, and I know we're not saying names or anything, but I know a lot of people that have been involved and mentioned. And Veronica was just very, very sweet and so friendly and just an amazing person. There's really no other way to put it other than that she was like easy to get along with, and her being the only person to graduate in her class, but she really filled a whole personality for, yeah. I don't know.
Estella, are you the one that talked about the cheerleading and stuff?
No, that was
Oh,
somebody else.
oh,
Yes.
okay. Hope,
I did.
hopefully that person is here and they'll talk too. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I did make an anonymous post because at first I didn't want to be too open, given like family and everything. Um, but I had previously dated the father to her kids and stuff, and I've just gotten to know and like a lot of that community in the Yarborough area, and yeah, so it just really hits home. And Veronica is just, yeah, she's just amazing. And she, for instance, like I was raised by a single dad, and she'd do my hair for cheer though every day because every other girl would have a mom or someone to do their hair, and she would just sit down with me and make sure my hair was braided and cute because I didn't know how to do it, and my dad
Oh,
definitely didn't. So she is just amazing. And yeah, that's just who she was. And even having shared, like, because I had previously dated, because later she ended up dating the same guy that I was dating in the past, like, and she never even let that affect, like, when you're young and stuff, most girls, tend to let that affect friendships and relationships, but she wasn't like that at all. She didn't have like a mean bone in her body or like anything like that. So that's just how she is. And yeah, I just want people to know, like, who aren't from around the area and don't know the school, um, and how she was as a person. It's just a really tight knit, very small school, very family like feeling. And yeah.
that's basic. I mean, I've heard that from hundreds of people. Literally
Yeah.
hundreds of
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. So even though I don't live around there anymore, just seeing it and seeing a familiar face like pop up on the screen when I went to Applebee's with my girls the other night, and I saw her picture pop up, and like it just, yeah, it affects, like, it's so weird to see such a familiar face in someone that you know. Well, I knew because now I moved away and everything, but yeah, it's not easy for
I,
anyone around that community or who have been involved in any way, shape, or form,
yeah,
like
can't even imagine. I can't
any
imagine.
relationship. But I just want to say that I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, and I'm really thankful because there's a couple times that I even wanted to hop in my car and like drive down there myself. But yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I think that their stories, that they are the most important. Them and their families and their children are the most important
Mm-hmm.
part of this whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want their stories to be told, and I can do it, but her friends, her family, you guys are you're their voices right now. And I really appreciate you sharing, your experiences with her.
Yeah, she's a great person, and yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right.
All
I'll let
right.
you guys continue the chat.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so there's a question. Do you think the people trying to chase you out of town are suspects in the investigation? Absolutely. 100% I do. Terry, have you seen anything that I miss that's like really important
It's
here?
moving. No, I answered a few things. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear the gal that hopped on there, so I couldn't hear Estella at all. So I started answering
Oh,
questions instead, which it sounded like it was very heartwarming, and I wished I could have heard it.
good.
There was asking about if the why the FBI was involved, and I said we were not part of the cool kids club. We don't get to hear that information. What does it mean that it's bigger than us? There's just more going on there. We can't go into all of that yet. Again, we need to organize. Carrie's got information. Carrie has my information. It's just a lot to organize and
Yeah, like
go through.
I don't want to just start blabbing things off the top of my head.
No,
You guys already know I don't
no.
have a very good memory, and I don't want to tell you the wrong information. Okay, so when I get back home, I can better organize things, put
Mhm.
my stuff all together. Tara's, she'll help, and we'll get it all together. I'm telling you, at this point, I'm like, we need a database because it's
Oh,
that much information.
yeah, it is. So why was the school closed? That still doesn't make sense. This has been addressed a few times, Brian. Just that's their safety protocol. That's all. Because the car was found very close to where the school is located, and for that purpose, that was something that they do. I think there was some talk earlier that that's kind of part of their daily protocol anyway. There's a certain part of the day they lock down. You need to chime in on that one,
Yeah, so
Carrie.
it wasn't necessarily a lockdown. Like they didn't go like any other extra measures as far as what, if you're in a bigger city, what you think is a lockdown. It wasn't like that. The superintendent or principal, I'm not sure what they call him here, but he basically just made it to where the kids could not go like outside at recess and lunch, that kind of thing there for a few days. That's all that was. It wasn't like a real lockdown, you know what I mean? It was mainly, I think, to
Mhm.
make the parents feel safe and to allow the children to feel safe. He was just looking out for them just in case. Just in case.
Yep. Yep. It's just a proper protocol, really.
Yeah.
And I think there's not really questions. There's some statements in there, some opinions. I'm not going to get into all of those. I've heard some of the same things in some of the Facebook group about the authorities and different things of that nature, but I don't know that there's any other questions to answer. I think we may have got it.
All right. Well, if there's anybody else that wants to speak about them, you're more than welcome to. Um, we would love to hear from you. I know, everybody would love to hear from you. I can give you I can give you a little bit of information, and Tara has a whole lot of information too that she might be able to pick out of her head to be like, okay, well, this is okay to share right now. Um, the kids have been brought up a lot. We don't allow talk of the kids in our group, obviously, but I can say this. There's been a lot of questions. Are the kids okay? Where are the kids? What I can say is the kids have been in school every single day. Um, but yeah, so the kids are in school. I have spoke with, well, Rock and I both did spoke with, Wrangler, and that's okay to say his name. He's the dad of the children, and he's, Veronica's ex. I spoke with his grandmother. Rock and I did, and she's tore up, obviously, but the kids were a concern for her. I was able to tell her, thankfully somebody had reached out to me through the Facebook group and had given me that information, and I was so thankful, because I'll be honest, as a mom and a grandma myself, that was a big concern of mine. And they reached out, and they did let me know that, so they are, have been in school. And yeah, yeah, her children are so cute with their red hair. They're adorable, adorable kids. Uh, Tazzy asked, do you think it is productive to continue searching the local area? Well, my opinion, I don't know.
Right? It's a hard
Like, you
one.
never want to give up searching.
Yeah.
But I have I have a pretty good feeling, or like I have a gut feeling, I guess you'd say. I don't know. That that the areas that we would need to search are areas that we cannot access. That's probably
Yeah.
the best way I can answer that.
I would agree with that. It's hard to reach, and it's whether you're a regular citizen or law enforcement won't matter. It's hard to reach.
Yes. Sweet Melissa, isn't the school right on a secluded? Oh, wait, a secluded
A
business?
secluded, busy. So which school are you referring to? Yarborough is on a busy highway. The Plainview School is on the secluded, busy highway. And the difference between those schools is that Yarborough is a school where children attend every day. There's students there every day. That's the one that went on lockdown for just the typical security precaution. Plainview is much further south by 20 to 25 minutes, and it's no longer in service as a school. It's out of commission as a school, but that one is on a secluded area. It's not off of a major highway. It is a thoroughfare, if you want to call it that, between it's a road that connects like Texas to Oklahoma. So it's hopefully that answers that question if I understood it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Uh,
Sergeant King, ladies, get armed and get training at a firing range. At least get bear spray for protection. We're living in different times. And I think you're absolutely correct.
yeah.
100%. I know people are afraid of guns and what have you. And, I understand that. But we're in an open carry state. And we feel very strongly about our gun rights. I'll just put it that way. Yeah, we are living in different times, and we do need to start protecting ourselves a lot better. And I want to add something else to that, because I did an interview yesterday with Wichita, NBC out of Wichita. I believe they're an affiliate with the News Nation, and they only did a little tiny clip out of it, which is very normal, but I wish that they would have included more of the most important things that I was trying to say, and that was about the community. First of all, how wonderful it is, but the second thing, that I really I want to stress so much, that if you're going through a custody battle, or you're going through a nasty divorce, and you are sharing custody of children, and you're having these kind of visitations and stuff, don't let people bully you around. Don't let them change a meeting spot on you. You need to be meeting in a brightly lit place, public place, preferably one that there are cameras. And I can tell you, even in this little tiny town here in Elkhart, I asked there's only one gas station. And I asked the lady, I said, I know this is weird. Well, she sees me every day because I have to get my iced tea. But I said, I know this is a weird question, but do you guys have cameras here? And she said, yeah, there's two out there. So even in a town this small, you could meet somewhere like that. But we have this is happening too often. Actually, I've covered two other cases where basically the same kind of situation. So we have to protect ourselves, and that goes for men and women both, because women can be just as crazy. And be safe, really, truly. And I from my heart, like, I'm begging you, if you're in that kind of situation, do not let I- it's my feeling that the meeting location was changed. That they'll put it that way. Veronica. Oh, and I want to clear up another rumor. I do have permission from Grandma. Um, as far as visitation, so there's been, rumor back and forth where did they Veronica hadn't seen him since last July, or Veronica hadn't seen him from November, or those kind of things. Well, that the reason that is being said is because those court documents got locked down so quickly, but many of us were able to get them. If you're in true crime, that's usually the first thing you go to. A lot of us were able to get most all of that anyway before I'm assuming OSBI sealed all that, right? Um, and I think that's another big clue, is that they were sealed. What was it, Tara? Do you remember day 2, day 3? It was quick. It was very
It
quick.
was very well. Only I think one person really got the information downloaded, and I think, yeah, by day 3 it was all locked down tight. It looked like it had been sealed forever.
Yeah. So Veronica had actually seen the children. The last time she'd seen the children before this meeting was supposed to be taking place was 2 weeks prior. She was supposed to have them the week prior, but the grandmother said something about somebody was sick or something. So she did not see them the week prior. She had seen them 2 weeks prior, though, and she would get them every Saturday. And the Wrangler, the children's father, his grandmother actually would go with Veronica to meet the other grandmother to do the exchange. And she told me that, yes, indeed, they did always meet at Four Corners, and that she had begged Veronica, because Veronica had been asked to go to the grandmother that had the children are with. She had been asked to go there a couple times to pick them up. So that's why I say that I believe the meeting spot was changed. I have very good reason to truly believe that. She said that she had begged Veronica multiple times to not let herself be bullied like that. But what you have to understand is Veronica was for many, many years in a very nasty custody battle. The custody battle was not necessarily with Wrangler. The custody battle was with Grandma. And I want to make that clear, because Wrangler and Veronica, they were really trying to work together, and, to both of them have visitation. So the grandmother was making it very difficult for both parents to be able to visit with their kids. Yeah.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. There was something else I wanted to say that I could clear up too, and I'm trying to remember what that was. It'll come to me in a minute.
Oh,
Please elaborate
so you
on
got
your.
the cust.
Go ahead, because you might.
No. What was the comment? Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, please elaborate on your statement. It's bigger than we think. We've already addressed this a couple times, and you very well may have missed it. We are going to do that. I think if Tara is available, like maybe Friday or something, we could do that. I'm going to go home tomorrow. I'd like to spend a little bit of time with my grandbabies and my kids and my husband. Um, and then it's going to take some time to put together. We have the amount of information we have. We could write a couple of books at least. So we need to put it together in a very professional, I guess, is the only term I can think of, right?
Yeah.
way to present it to people, and we will give you the information that we feel is not going to hinder the investigation.
Yeah, agreed.
Carrie said, what is the real reason why the victims' families are not allowed to talk or give interviews? Well, they can. I mean, if they want to, they can. I can tell you, Grandma told me that, and I'm talking, so this would be the children's great grandmother, right? Paternal great grandmother. That's who I spoke to in person. And that was the strangest thing in the world. I want to tell a little story. Her and I have actually been texting all day today, and she's having a really, really rough day today. So if she's watching, my heart is truly with her. As a grandmother myself, she had me in tears yesterday. So, where was I going with that?
You're going to tell a story about the victims not giving.
Thank you. Because see, I start rambling and then I forget. So we were actually eating somewhere. We had gone to pick up the laptop that a lady was so gracious to loan us, because Rock was having a really hard time, like with the cell phone thing, and technology is kind of a pain. And also, she had to private a lot of videos, and the reason why is because she didn't realize if somebody was talking. So she didn't put people on camera or anything, and she always let everybody know, hey, I'm live. She made them aware of that. But there was a few times that people were talking, and they didn't even think of it themselves, but their voices were recognized. So that wasn't a good thing. So she had privated a whole bunch of those videos, and we needed a laptop because she didn't know how to do it. And I was going to go back through and edit those videos for her, and at least mute out those portions so that she could get those videos back up. But but they are allowed to talk if they want. But I don't know. So when we met Grandma, we had gone to pick up the laptop. We had gone. The lady, bought us lunch and stuff. Well, we are getting ready to leave, and this lady walks up to us, and she said, "I need to talk to you." And I looked at the sweet lady that loaned us the laptop, and as the grandmother was walking in front of me, and I said something that, like, she's shaken, she is upset, something's wrong. I didn't know who it was. I'd never seen her. I had no reason to look into her, you know what I mean? So it's not like I went and tried to find who she was. I didn't do any of that. We got outside, and she's like, she's crying, and she said she gave us a lot of information, a lot. And it's not, she spoke to OSBI, I think she said 4 or 5 times. So they have talked to her, and they had all the information she gave us. But she wanted to talk to us. They had just come there to get themselves a bite to eat, and she recognized who we were. And she said, I'm telling you, God brought me here, because I thought so many times of going and, like, trying to find you guys to talk to you. And I just didn't do it. And today, at this moment, I came here to get something to eat, and there you guys are. So I thought that was really sweet, very cool. And I'm glad that she did talk to us. Did the grandmother and children go to the meeting place? Well, we don't really know what happened that Saturday that they, but typically grandmothers said that they always met at Four Corners, which is what the court order has said. That is where they would go, and it's the great grandmother of the kids. They would always meet there, but there were times that Veronica was asked to meet at different places.
I was just scrolling through to see, did anybody that has a scanner list? Do you have a scanner? Were you guys using a scanner while you were out there?
No, because the only scanner that will pick up anything is the Guyman Fire Department. So no, there was no. And you know what? Local law enforcement has no involvement. They don't even know anything. I said that in the beginning of the live. They weren't even given information on what, um, what condition the vehicle was in. What did it look like? You know, they weren't. They have not been talked to. Period. So they are being left completely out. I'm talking the sheriff's department, police department, and I'm not sure about highway patrol, but I want to say highway patrol as well, because Rock and I were driving down the road, and there's this box truck that she had spoke with a guy a couple days prior, and he had actually driven by where the car is found that morning. He saw them. He saw the car. He saw the car over there. He saw um, the other vehicles there as well. Now, he didn't see anything happening, but he definitely was one more eyewitness that saw what vehicles were at that location. Well, right as she was outside talking to him, a highway patrolman drove by. So Rock flagged the highway patrolman down, and he pulled over. And the guy was more than willing to, give a report, make a statement, whatever. And so Rock asked, told the highway patrolman, hey, we have like an eyewitness to the vehicles that were there that day. Can he take a report? He said, OSBI, that's OSBI's case. She said, well, could you get the sheriff's department over here to get a report? Nope. She said, well, he said, you have to have OSBI. She said, well, can you give me OSBI's number? Because the guy's standing right here, ready to give his information. Nope, you have to look it up. And he left.
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's encouraging.
Was this court ordered? Yeah, it was. It was court ordered.
Was the ex in rehab at the time? Wasn't sure if they ever confirmed that. They did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I did ask her about that too. His brother actually took him straight from jail to Oklahoma City to rehab. So yes, indeed, he was there. And I think OSB had already confirmed that anyway. Maybe they didn't confirm it. I think it was yeah, I don't know. Did OSBI actually confirm that? I know that they have talked to him. They've had counselor in there with him, and OSBI has been in to talk with him. I've had some lifelong friends of his reach out to me, and I talked to them for a couple hours last night. He would dearly, they're not close anymore because unfortunately, addiction is a thing. And when that became a thing, the two, kind of parted their ways. But these guys, they're like best friends from kindergarten. They went on vacations together, family, things. They were very, very close. But for the first 30 days while Wrangler is there, he cannot, he can't have any outside contact or anything. And that's so that he can focus on him and what's going on with him. But I do know that they have had a counselor in there with him as well. Has the grandmother?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say so. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
she has been.
Yeah. Do we think it's a targeted attack and from the family? I absolutely believe it was targeted. Yeah, it was targeted to Veronica. Jilian was just an innocent bystander. At the last minute, the other one, I guess, was sick. Jilian was another one that was listed, that could attend these supervised visits with her. And so Jilian just happened to be the one that went with her that day. The one that was sick was the one that grandmother had chosen. Also, I know another thing that I did not know. Grandma does have temporary custody through the courts. So I had been asking, why are when they're dropped off at school, why don't they get the kids then? At least just, at least for the time being while this is being investigated, make sure that the kids are safe. There's other family. Veronica has family here that would be more than happy to take care of the children temporarily, that kind of thing. And it's been asked an awful lot, like, why don't they just go get the kids? Well, they can't. They can't do that. That she has temporary custody of them right now.
Maybe people should focus on the preacher. I don't see a reason for that. I haven't seen anything that indicates the preacher
No, and I don't
would
even
would
want to talk
come to call on
about that.
that one.
No way.
Um,
He is absolutely brokenhearted. They're fixing to move, and how is he supposed? How is he supposed to move? They have 4 children. One, I believe, one is graduated. I don't think the other 3 are. He's got to move to Nebraska now with all of this going on. I don't even know how you would cope with something like that. No, absolutely
Agreed.
not. No, I don't.
There's just been nothing that pointed that way at all.
No, not at all.
Nothing.
Veronica's husband, excuse me, Veronica's husband is a police officer in another town, and absolutely, I don't even want anybody to put suspicion their way, because they are absolutely grieving, and they don't deserve that.
Yeah.
But I understand that that's people, you're gonna kind of question a lot of things, but at least that's my perception, and I don't believe law enforcement thinks that they have any involvement either.
Mm-mm. Can we speak to TA's boyfriend at all? In what regard? Quite honestly, I know that there's a couple families of interest in the situation. That's about until we kind of regroup and share notes. I don't want to go down that path just yet. I don't know about you, Carrie.
No, I don't really want to. I mean, everybody's kind of seen his record. He's got quite the record, including felon with a gun and a lot of things, that conveniently have been dismissed, which is interesting.
Yep. There is a lot of public information to go find. But until, like I said, until we get kind of organized, I think it's best to wait so we can speak in a very fluid sense.
Right. Does Wrangler's mom speak to Veronica's parents? That I do not know. I have not spoken to Veronica's parents. I haven't seen them since I've been here. I know that Rock said that they flew in from West Virginia, or her dad and his fiance flew in from West Virginia. Her mother was also here. I've heard that Veronica is extremely close to her father, very close. But as far as whether or not grandmother speaks to her parents, I'm going to take a wild guess and say probably not, but I don't know the answer to that. I think Rock had said that they had not seen the grandchildren either, but I can't verify that. I wasn't there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge has PC, but what's PC?
I'm not sure. I was just looking at that. It's okay
But
for Veronica and an appointed person to go to the court. Why were they not protected as a P? Kelly Riley, can you tell us what PC means? I'm not sure I follow.
Is it protective custody, possibly?
Oh, there it is. Ginger says protective custody.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can absolutely verify that the judge, I mean, with 100%, I can verify the judge that. So what happened was Veronica had custody. Then Wrangler went back and he filed an appeal. And that judge that approved the appeal that gave Wrangler the custody has been in not like protective custody. Well, I guess you'd call it protective custody. She has around the clock protection. Yes, even like at church, they sit outside the church. Yeah, she's protected very well. And that was another. I was a little disappointed when I talked to the grandma, and I don't care to say this because I'm worried for her. She has been threatened by the other grandmothers since this has happened. They've driven by our house, and there's been a few things. But I asked her, did OSBI, when they talk to you, did they say, offer you any kind of protection or anything? Because, I would think if it's all over this, custody kind of thing, Veronica, or that grandmother, she actually helped raise those kids for a few years. So she would probably be the next in line, would be my guess, to get, that's what she wants. She said she's not stopping. She's gonna fight everything. But she said that they told her that she would be kept an eye on. And then she looked at me and she put her hands up in the air and she said, "Where are they? I've not seen any law enforcement around me whatsoever." So there's that.
Are you two the ones that were looking at the well in the abandoned home? I imagine they mean on the news, Carrie.
Looking at what? You cut out for just a
Were
second.
were you and I think my Bluetooth is quitting. Were you and Rock the two looking in the abandoned homes on the news?
Yeah, so that was just one. The night before, somebody had no, it wasn't even the night before. It was like a last minute thing. It was somebody that had driven by this property. They drive by every day for work, and it's off a highway. Like, it's just right on the highway, and it is just like an abandoned house, a couple abandoned buildings, things like that. And he said that he thought he saw vultures sitting on top of one of the like tractors there, right? He said he'd never seen
Mhm.
that before. So when he was driving back home later on, back the other way later on to, finish his route, they were still sitting there. And he said, "I just felt like I needed to message you this information because I'd never seen it. And it was almost like they were protecting something." He's like, "Do you guys mind to go check?" And I'm like, "Of course we'll go check." And so it just so happened we were going to go out there anyway. And the news was wanting to do an interview. So that's how that all kind of worked out. I didn't check any wells. There is a well that had the lid on it, I guess. But Rock was over in that area, so I didn't do that. I just kind of looked inside the abandoned house. I looked through all the well, there's some windows left. You can like see this old little baby stroller in there. I'm talking like old. I wish I kind of wanted to take pictures of it, but that wouldn't be right to the person that owns that property. But some kind of cool stuff in there. But we looked inside of everything. I didn't like go through their buildings at all. But I was able to get around the sides of all of those abandoned buildings enough to be able to know that area was clear. That lady actually called me this evening. And she was like, "Was that you that was there?" I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, we
Mhm.
talked it out, and everything's fine. But she did want me to make others aware, which is why I said earlier um, that if you are going to come out here and search, just make sure, even if there's like not a fence or whatever, if it's like abandoned buildings, just kind of try to check who owns that property and reach out to them. The people here are very kind, and most likely they will tell you that yes, you can. But the biggest reason is if somebody comes on their property and they don't know, somebody else could be watching their property for them, and you might put yourself in a dangerous situation. B Walker. No, absolutely. She said she wants she said, "I'm tired of being quiet." That's exactly what she said. So I mean, people are well aware of who she is too. So no, I don't think so. If anything, hopefully people will watch over her a little bit more. It appears that no. OSBI is doing their job. They truly are, and they are out here. They are doing their job. But this is like we said earlier, this is a little bit it's a little bit bigger of a case than there's just two missing women. And that's why the FBI is involved. but the law enforcement's doing what they're supposed to do. We're not here to do their job. We were just looking
Correct.
ladies. That's it. So, yeah.
Mm.
Right. Well, we got through
Yeah,
it all. Let me go through these real quick. I think I already did I?
I think so. You did a great job keeping up with them.
Oh, craft lady. I know who you are. Thank you so much. I
She's
appreciate
awesome. I have had
that.
the pleasure of talking with her, and she is wonderful.
She is amazing. And I, again, want to thank you so much for everything you have done for us to help us. You've done a lot. And it's really hard for me because I'm one of those people that really, I like to, I, I want to give people credit. I want them to be able to have that credit because, kindness is sometimes few and far between these days. And I would love to be able to like say their names and be like, this person and their name is just this amazing individual. And I just want everybody to know. And I want to shout it from the rooftops, but I can't because they want to be anonymous. But they know my heart. They know that I absolutely, truly appreciate every last thing they have done, every little tiny thing they've done for us. I appreciate it.
Me too, very much. We've had some
And
wonderful support.
it's been a very, very, very long day for me, for sure. And I know it has been for Tara because we're chatting all day long, and she's working and she's still having to do her own thing, and she's been a huge, huge, huge help with this. So it's definitely been a long day. I'm really tired. I have a long drive back home tomorrow morning. And I wanted to touch on that, the reason why I'm leaving. Once again, I don't want to disappoint anybody. I'm very, very, very torn, and this is where I don't want to cry, um, because I want to stay until they're found with everything in my heart and soul. I want to stay until they're found. I want to see arrests. That I want to see arrests. I want to see their justice. But you know what? I'm close enough that I can come back if I need to. If I need to come back, I can come back. So, um, but I think as far as like searching, I think that OSBI and FBI probably have a very good grasp on that. And I don't ever want to say that it's fruitless to go search, because by all means, if there's people that want to search, absolutely, please, please, please keep searching for her. And for both Jillian and for Veronica, the people here don't mind it, but while they just ask that you be very respectful of them, of their community. They don't want to be trashed. There's no reason to trash them. These are amazing people here. And if they're found, when they're found, then I'll come back. I'll come back here. But for now, I think I need to, I just need to go be with my family for a little bit. This has been it's been kind of rough. It was, something that you thought it was going to be one thing, and it turned into a whole. I'm sorry, you guys. And I'm not a
You're good.
crier. I swear I'm not. But, some things you just can't help but to get very, very emotional about. And my heart breaks for their family. And I've talked to so many of their friends and some of their family, and my heart breaks for them. And I hope that I'm not letting them down. I think that's my biggest thing. But also, I feel like we really did accomplish something. We got this to get, and I'll say it, and I'm not a toot my own horn, but all of us, like all of you in that group, spreading the word and sharing their photos and their stories. You guys all got this to get national media, and if it wasn't for that, I don't know if justice would have happened. I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have.
Hmm.
So
I don't
thank
think it would have either.
you. You guys all played a big role in this. You still will play a big role. And let me tell you, I will continue to cover this until the very, very end. I mean, I'm so invested, and I just love the people here so much that I'm not going to let you down that way. Tara and I are absolutely going to continue to keep up on everything, every information we can get. And we will do a very well planned live where I can share the video that I have from out here and all the pictures I have, and the stories that I've been sent. I can share all that with you, but I can't do it from my mobile phone. So I need to be at home with my like actual computer set up and all that, and it'd be a whole lot easier. And we won't most definitely do that. And I'll schedule it in advance. Tara and I'll talk and see when's good for her and me, and I'll schedule that plenty of advance for you guys. And if you'll just like click the little bell, that'll subscribe you to the channel. And when I do set up that live, you'll get a notification for it. Also, if you'll just like this video, that helps on YouTube, because the more likes, the more views, the more likes, the more YouTube puts it up at the top. When people go on to YouTube, they will see that. And so it continues to help spread that information. And people every day are learning about this. Every single day, new people are learning about it. And we have to keep that going, and we can't let it be forgotten, and we can't let the pressure off. We have to make sure that law enforcement truly does follow through, and I have every reason to believe that they absolutely will. And I want you guys to feel the same way. Do you have any last words, Tara?
No, I think the more attention we give this, the better off it's going to turn out. It may seem slow, but sometimes the slow burns have a really great release.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you guys. Thank you all for your support. I love all of you here, and I'm gonna miss seeing a lot of faces for sure. But you know what? I have a pretty strong feeling that I'll be back very soon, and we'll be in the Facebook group, and let's just continue the conversation, and share with your friends. Definitely, if they're going through custody battles, you have to meet in a public space and make sure there's cameras and it's well lit, and it's just it's got to be a thing, because this is just happening way too often. All right. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. And we will see you when we do our live, where we actually give you the information we have. So look forward to that. All right. Thank you so much for helping me out, Tara, because I couldn't have come and done this by myself. There's no way. I would have chickened out, and there's no way I could have done it. So
you are worth it, Carrie. More than worth it.
you mean the world to me, and I have never even met you. So, but Tara doesn't live too far from me. So maybe one day we can have a meetup, and that would be cool. Anyway.
Yes, it would.
So Banfield's podcast is up in full. Wonderful. So yeah, I did go on Ashley Banfield earlier. I didn't like put it out there a whole lot, but there weren't too many questions. I wanted, and I had already talked to Tara about it. I wanted to be careful with things that I was gonna say. So you're not gonna get any like probably any real new information. But it's still worth a watch, and there's other good information in that. They do tell you about the FBI is now involved and things like that. So yeah, definitely please go watch Ashley Banfield on News Nation. And with that, you guys all be safe, and I will be seeing you guys soon. I love you all.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.